Welcome to the Dalen Show. Hello, people. It is so good to join you again. I am having a phenomenal time throughout the season 4, and we are almost getting closer to that end of the season. And it's just been such a joyful journey to sit back and learn and listen and conversate with so many amazing people. And it's just been a real joy, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. Thank you guys for your continued support. Always remember, subscribe, comment, leave a like on the video, and as well as share the video. We're growing, and I appreciate every single one of you guys' support. But enough talking for me. Let's introduce our guest for this week, Coach David Grace. Woohoo! Coach, I appreciate you for joining me. And first off, how's everything going in your world? I know it's summertime. I know you have I'm sure a lot of traveling and recruiting going on, but how's everything going in your world right now?
Everything's going great, man. We had a great, month of June. It's scholastic month for we get to work with our kids during the month of June, and we went to the Section 7, which is the premier event in the country, and we were in the championship game of that. And last year I had Bryce James, Bronny's brother, and he came right before we went and played, and we didn't have any practices and stuff. And I just took over the team. We went 0-4 last year. So to go to the championship game this year was great growth for our program. And our kids are getting recruited. We just came back from Cali Live Sunday, another live event where 170 coaches were there, I believe. And our whole team's getting recruited. It seems like Isaiah Johnson picked up 5 new offers, Division I offers, and Evan Willis is getting recruited, just a freshman, and James Bass is getting recruited, and Christian Rogers has got interest from University of Hawaii, and a lot of our other kids are getting calls as well. So really excited. Little Deuce Snoop is getting some interest. He played extremely well over the month, and I'm really excited for these guys.
That's awesome. Coach, real quick before we kind of we dive deep into everything, if you don't mind, for people watching and listening, just giving them a brief overview about yourself, maybe just where you're from, what you do currently, just some things you've been able to do in your lifetime to get you where you are today.
Well, my story is very unique. I'm originally from Aberdeen, Maryland, right outside Baltimore, and grew up there, but I grew up numerous places as well because my stepfather was in the Army, and he married my mom when I was 12. So I would move back and forth. My dad still lives in Aberdeen, and so I lived almost everywhere. But then I joined the Air Force, spent 20 years in the Air Force. Great career. I really enjoyed that. Fought in Desert Storm. And then I got into coaching. I played while I was in the Air Force, but got into coaching, and I went from coaching 12-year-olds. Really, I started coaching 5-year-olds at a YMCA league. And then I started coaching 12-year-olds AAU with Boo Williams in Hampton, Virginia. And then I got stationed in Phoenix, Arizona, coached the Arizona Magic team, was part of the Compton Magic AAU program, and then coached high school in Phoenix. Started as assistant coach at Trevor Brown High School, and then took over when I retired from the Air Force. I took over South Mountain High School. In 2 years, we won a state title. Moved on to Sacramento State for a year, then the University of San Francisco for a year. Then 5 years at Oregon State with Craig Robinson was my head coach. I was assistant there, and Craig Robinson is the brother of Michelle Obama, and had a great five-year run there, and then was very fortunate enough to get to UCLA and spent 5 years there under Steve Alford, and had a great 5-year run there. 1 year at Cal, and then 1 year as associate head coach at Vanderbilt. Then COVID hit. I went back and took care of my mother-in-law who had dementia. And when she passed away, then I interviewed at a couple of Division I for head coaching jobs. Wasn't able to get those. Became the head high school coach at Centennial High School. We went to the Final Four. Then this past year, Campbell Hall hired me here in Los Angeles, and we had a great first year, and now we're working on year 2 here at Campbell Hall in Los Angeles.
Coach, I had a conversation yesterday with Wesley Brooks, who was the head coach at Utah State for their women's team, and he just talked about how much he prioritized a lot of things, but the love he has for basketball and the way that, you know, this orange ball has taken him around the world and allowed him to meet so many people. I want to ask you, what has basketball not only meant to you, but how do you think for you yourself it has helped divulge you into positions and into lives for your own self?
Well, you know, again, I have a great love for the game of basketball. Obviously, you have to have a passion to climb the ladder that I was able to climb through the help of many others. But basketball is just a tool. It's a nugget to be able to make impact on others. And that's why I do it. I really enjoyed helping others reach their dreams and sharing my experiences with them and helping them along the way, whether they do go on and play in college or the NBA, or they just go into life and use those same experiences and nuggets that I give them will help them in everyday life.
Yes, sir. Coach, I know you talked about being originally from Aberdeen, Maryland. What was that like for you growing up? And I know you also talked about moving around a lot, just being a military kid. I want to ask you, what was growing up in Maryland like, and as well being a military kid? Do you think
Man,
that kind of shaped who you were in a way to today?
oh yeah, it shaped me greatly. Growing up in Aberdeen, I had the best friends in the world, man. I got to grow up with them. We played sports together, and we still are in touch to this day. And they helped mold me. Aberdeen helped mold me. I always call it home, even though I've moved around a lot. The people there are amazing. It's a military base there, Aberdeen Proving Ground. But you know, just being around the culture of Maryland, you know, and my family growing up, I have a great family. You know, other than, you know, shoot, we would go fishing and crabbing and other things as well as sports. But, you know, sports was always first and foremost in my family. Every day was discussed at the dinner table, and it molded me greatly, you know, and then being able to move around and see different, you know, parts of the United States and different cultures. You know, I lived in Kansas, I lived in Louisiana, I lived in Georgia. So those were areas that, you know, that helped mold me as well, you know, especially with the diversity of those states. So it helped me. It helps me to this day. And growing up in Maryland, I'm a big Orioles fan, and they're in first place right now. I'm a big Baltimore Ravens fan. I hope we win Super Bowl this year. So, and I love steamed crabs and National Bohemian and all that good stuff that comes with the state of Maryland.
Yes, sir. Coach, talk about your time in the Air Force and what not only being a part of it meant, but serving your country meant for you and especially for the long period of time that you were a part of it.
Well, I met some of the greatest people in the world. You know, I tell my kids ask me all the time about the military, and I said, you know, the Air Force is the best at what they do in the world, and they're always, you know, scrubbing the processes to stay that way. So I got to be a part of that. You know, I got to be a part of a winning team right away, and to see how they go about and the requirements that are established for us to meet every day. And you know, it was just a great experience. At first I was hurt that I didn't play Division I basketball because I thought I was good enough. But after spending 20 years, I get a retirement check, and get the people I met, the places I've been, it's helped mold me and to be able to be a coach now and help others. Just last week, we spent about 45 minutes talking about, my kids were asking me different questions like, you know, how was the war? And did you kill anybody? Or did you use were you in the gas chamber? And all those other things that kids ask, you know, and I was able to share that with them. The discipline that we instill here at Campbell Hall is all part of that as well. I think discipline is love. I think making sure kids are disciplined and that will help them when they become adults and they become parents. So we talk about all of that stuff. But the Air Force is molding me, is helped me. It helped me climb the college basketball ladder. It helped me get into basketball. I wouldn't have done it without that. And it's just been amazing.
I love that you bring that up because I want to ask, just what's your Air Force background? And this can be said about certain coaches and can be said not about certain coaches, but coaching, you are essentially, a man or woman parent roles for people. And how important is it to make sure that although you want to do great on the court, you also are making sure that they're taking care of business in the classroom, that they are respectable people outside of their game. How important is it for you to kind of indulge in their own personal lives and make sure they are turning out to be respectable men in the world once they get older?
Well, you really want to know your student athletes. You really want to get to know them, and you want them to get to know you as well. So, and when you do that, you know all about their background, you know all about their families, and I'm not trying to be their parents. I'm just trying to be their coach. And with that comes a lot of responsibilities of, it's more than just basketball. It's the whole person concept. We want to make sure we're keeping that balance and making sure that they thrive in all parts of their lives. I have a podcast myself called Do More with Your 24. And that's what we're wanting to do. We want the whole person concept, not just basketball. And I have a carrot. I have basketball where I have where I have a listening audience per se. And they give me the opportunity to help them excuse me, through my experiences and what other people have given me to be able to help them with their everyday lives.
Coach, how did your coaching career get started? And what routes did you take to? No, I want to ask you, how did your coaching career get started? And did you have any end goals when you first started your coaching career? Did you want to reach a certain height? Did you want to be somewhere specific? Did you have any goals when you first started coaching?
Yeah, I got stationed in Langley Air Force Base in Hampton, Virginia. And I was at that time concentrating on becoming a referee. And my supervisor, my brand new supervisor, Carl Harris, he was coaching 12-year-olds for Boo Williams AAU program, which is nationally known. Boo Williams is in the Hall of Fame. And he was telling me all about it. And I said, I don't know if I want to be a coach. And then he said, just come to practice. So I came to practice. Man, he had 12-year-olds in practice gear. He had them all with the same socks, same sneakers, had a practice plan. It was more than just park and rec. And that day I kind of got the bug a little bit. So I became his assistant coach. And then that spring, Boo had his own tournament. And John Thompson came, Dean Smith, all the top college coaches came. And I remember being in Holland Hall at Hampton University watching this high school AAU event up in the stands. It must have been at like 11 p.m. because I didn't even go home, man. I was just so excited to see all those college coaches there. And I had something like a daydream, like, man, you know what? You got 14 years in the Air Force. You're going to be retiring in about 6 years. You could be a college basketball coach. What makes you not be able to? So I had like a daydream. And then 5 minutes later, it says, well, if I'm going to be a Division I assistant coach, I might as well try to be a Division I head coach. And that's where the dream started. And so I had big goals right away.
You talk about Boo Williams, and for people that don't know that name, obviously one of the most profound names and minds in basketball. What was it like working with him? And also, what was it like being a part of the formation of what is now known as Compton Magic, one of the most storied AAU programs in the country?
Well, I'm very blessed to be able to coach him both. I coached with Boo Williams first. He was a great mentor. He still is a great mentor of mine. I have a basketball agent, and his sister and I are rep by the same agent. So we still stay in touch. I got assignment to Phoenix, Arizona. So as I was getting ready to leave, I went to Boo's office and I said, hey, Boo, I really want to be a college coach. Do you think I have it in me? And he said, Coach Grace, you know how many people come in my office and ask that question? I usually tell him no, but I'm going to tell you yes. And once he told me that, no one could tell me any different. And I didn't have a degree then. I went and got a degree. I got a divorce. I got full custody of my children, living in Phoenix. Worked day and night to reach my goal. I got a degree, graduated from honors with honors from Park University, and was where if the ball was bouncing in Phoenix, I was there. And then Anthony Ray and myself, along with Atope Una created the Arizona Magic, which was underneath the Compton Magic. And Atope Una runs the Compton Magic still today. And then I eventually he had me coach the Compton Magic as well one year. So me and him are great friends today. And Atope has helped me along the way of getting jobs. And we're still friends, and just amazing person. And we were able to coach kids and touch their lives along the way with both Boo Williams and Compton Magic and the Arizona Magic. So I'm very blessed to be able to coach in both of those programs.
Coach, in terms of you've been a part of the high school and college levels. What is it like kind of being in the college level? What is it like recruiting? And I say that, how much time do you spend in the summer? Are there certain places that you have to always go? What do you look at when you're recruiting? Like in terms of a player, is it character, the body language, the listening to coaches, how they play? Like what builds into when you're on a recruiting trip? What are you looking at for players when you were in college to make sure that they were okay to come play for your team?
Well, first and foremost, you want to recruit to your head coach. So you really got to get to know your head coach, because he's going to be the one that's going to offer. He's going to be the one that coaches them ultimately, and then you're going to assist him. So what I would do is really get to know my head coach, and then use my network to, go around the country finding the best recruits in the country to go to the schools that I was at. I was able to get Vinny McGee, my first recruit ever, who was an Oakland Soldier, who was from McClymonds High School in Oakland, to go to Sacramento State. He was the made all conference, was player of the year in the conference, which never happened at Sac State at the Division I level. So I was really proud of that. And then, moved up to San Francisco, Dean Hadley right away. I got him, and I wasn't there but for 1 year. But and then I moved on to Oregon State. Jared Cunningham won 24th in the draft. Roberto Nelson played professionally overseas, was Pac-10 Player of the Year. Eric Moreland played with the Toronto Raptors and won a world championship, 3 world championships in China. Joe Burton still playing, winning championships in France. We can keep on going down the road at Oregon State, and then getting to UCLA and Lonzo Ball and TJ Leaf, Ike Enabugu, Aaron Holiday, Thomas Welsh. We can go, the list goes on and on and on for all the players that I was able to recruit under the coaches that I worked for.
Have you had any, and I know you talk about Boo Williams, but who have been some of your other mentors and kind of idols throughout your career and that can just be coaches, athletes, who have been some of the guys that have really helped you and moved you to where you help you get where you are today?
Besides, Atope and Boo and other people, Lute Olson was a great mentor of mine. He took a liking to me, was really close with him. He helped me get Sac State to get into college with a phone call. Atope and did that as well, and so did Anthony Ray. But also Morton Wooten, high school coach out of DeMatha High School, was an idol, was a mentor from a distance. I didn't really know him well. I know his son, but I followed his career and I read his books, and I also was a big fan of his at the high school level. And Rob Evans was at Arizona State, was a great mentor of mine. Craig Robinson mentors me in a lot of different ways by what he does, and working for him for 5 years. So it's been a hodgepodge of people that have been in my life that's helped me along the way. A lot of military leaders, Ron Goodwin, Chief Walter McCauley has been great for me as well, and Ron Goodwin in Phoenix, Arizona was a great mentor of mine. So just those and my coworkers along the way, and as assistant coaches, and also my coworkers in the military. So I have a lot of mentors that I reach out to, but those are some of the main ones.
Sir. Coach, I want to ask you. You have 5 children. What is it like being a father, and how has fatherhood impacted and changed your life for the better?
Well, I raised 6 children, and I have grandchildren, and they're my life. You know what I mean? They changed my life when I became a father, and I want to always know that I'm there for them. They live across the country now. None of them live in California like I do, but we stay in touch. My granddaughter was texting with me last night, and she keeps me in line. She lives in Atlanta. She texts me all the time. I stay in touch with all my children and grandchildren for the most part. So I just, when they call or they need anything, I'm there for them. And it's just been when you become a father, it changes you. So to be able to do that is one of God's blessings, and I'm very thankful.
I'd love to hear that. Thank you for sharing that, Coach. Coach, I would love for you to talk about your time at Sacramento State. I know that was kind of like your entry round to the college coaching world. What was that opportunity like for you? And as well, I would love to ask you, from your time at Sacramento State to now, how has basketball and college basketball changed in your eyes?
Well, it's changed greatly. That was my first year there. I took a $20,000 pay cut, slept on the floor in the locker room where they had a couch. So I slept there and on the floor. I ate when the players ate. A lot of people didn't know that because I didn't share that with them. Mm-hmm. But just to reach my dream, great first year, learned the college life. It's a lot different than high school. Jerome Jenkins was our head coach, and I learned a lot from him. And it was a great experience. But college has changed with NIL and transfer portal now. Schools just buy kids now. So it's different than when we recruited them back then. Now they just call them, and they let the low to mid majors do all the work, and then they just go get them out of the transfer portal. So it's a lot different, lot more money involved, obviously. Lot of different ways to go about doing things nowadays. I was just on the phone this morning with the NIL guy for our guys at the high school level. So we're working those things for them as well. And it's just changed, man. Just like our world has changed coming out of COVID. So many different things going on in our lives, and basketball is no different. The college scene is way different. You got UCLA in the Big Ten and USC in the Big Ten, man. So the Pac-12, which is one of the greatest conference ever, is no more, or just the Pac-2 for right now. So everything has changed, and not all of it for the good.
Coach, do you mind giving a piece of advice to people maybe watching or listening that are maybe aspiring to be a coach one day? What advice would you give to them listening to help motivate them and help place them in the career path that they want to go in?
Well, you have to have a great work ethic, and you got to be able to love kids. I get asked a lot on coaches trying to get into college space, and I'm telling them, hey man, are you sure you really want to do it? Because you don't have a life. You know what I mean? It's all that. It's all basketball. At UCLA, I don't even remember my days off because I didn't have many. And because we were, a lot of one and dones back then, and we were always recruiting, and I was recruiting most of them. I was the recruiting coordinator, so I didn't sleep really. So I asked the guys and ladies that really want to get into coaching, are you sure? Christmas, New Year's, those are usually spent working. So those if you're willing to give that up and for a dream of coaching is it's rewarding, man. It's one of the greatest, man. I don't call it a job. I get to get up every day and go coach kids, man. That's amazing to me. That's a blessing. But you got to be able to give up your free time to be able to do that.
Yes, sir. I want to ask you, and I kind of am intrigued, but I want to hear your answer really bad. Who have been some of your favorite players ever? And that could be growing up now, some of the kids that you've coached and worked with before. Who have been some of the guys you just sit back and enjoy watching them play the game of basketball?
Well, my favorite player all time is Dr. Julius Erving, Dr. J. So, and I was able to coach his son.
Wow.
At Cal. He was a walk-on, which blew my mind every day when I went to practice. Like, I'm coaching my favorite player's son.
Yes, sir.
So the Doc was my favorite player. The greatest player of all time is Michael Jordan. I sent one of my sons to his camp, so I got to be around him a little bit there, but that's about it. So many great kids I've coached over the years, from Lonzo Ball to Zach Levine, Norman Powell's one of my all-time favorite. I mean, Jeff Battle, Sean Deadwalder at South Mountain, who played D1, and Jeff didn't make it to D1, but he's one of my favorites. All of them, man, to this day, I have favorites as we go from each school. So it's just amazing. Vinny McGee, obviously my first recruit. All the guys in the NBA now, TJ Leaf, Ike Enabugo was in the league for a while. So, and even the guys that I recruited heavily but didn't get, Jaylen Brown, Brandon Ingram. I got to coach Aaron Nesmith, the starting guard for the Pacers. Saban Lee's one of my favorites, man. I coached him at Vanderbilt as well, and he's with the Suns, man. But we can go. Me and Kevin Durant are friends. Chet Holmgren. I was just with them last week at USC. I love him to death. He went to Gonzaga. We didn't get him, but so many of those players, man. I'm looking forward to going to the NBA Summer League, so I can get to hang out and see them and see the new guys that are just got drafted and see how they play as well. But I was able to coach over 24, I believe. Recruiting coach over 24 kids that's played in the NBA. So that's a blessing for me. And 5 of them were lottery picks. So that was also a blessing to see their names picked that high. And then just to know their families. Kevon Looney is one of my favorites. I mean, we can go. I'm sure I'm missing some kids.
Yes, sir.
That I just love to watch. And I was a part of their journey, you know what I mean, to get to where they're going. So it's been a lot of fun. I got all my kids on Campbell Hall, all from the freshman to varsity are my favorites, every one of them. So I love them all to death. They'll tell you that. So
you mentioned Craig Robinson earlier. What was it like working under him, and how were you guys and staff able to, at that time, change the Oregon State program and to successfully winning consistently throughout your time at Oregon State? What was it like under him, and what were some of you guys' main goals at Oregon State that helped you guys successfully win season after season?
Well, Craig was the best. He gave me an opportunity, and I'm very thankful. He actually flew down to Phoenix International Airport and interviewed me at the airport and flew right back 2 hours later. So to Corvallis when he got hired. So excuse me. He was great to work for. Great 5-year run. I was enjoying it there at Oregon State. We got to go hang out with Barack Obama every year at the White House, and that was a tremendous experience. We won a lot of games. We did change the program around. We got some great kids in there that really worked hard and really helped us along the way. Devon Collier, Roberto Nelson, Joe Burton. Man, we could go down, Eric Moreland. We could go down the list of all, Jamal Reed. Man, we can keep going down the list. It was a list of great players that come through there, and we were able to coach them up, and they bought into what we were doing, and we won a lot of games, man, a lot of games. So it was a lot of fun. I love Corvallis. I love the people of Corvallis, Oregon, and to be able to work for Coach Craig Robinson was amazing. He's the head of the NABC right now, And I reached out. He recently lost his mother, so I'm sure he's getting through that, and I don't think you ever do. So just prayers reach out for him as well. But he was amazing.
Yes, sir. Um, I see the UCLA plaques behind you, and your time there were some of my favorite times of watching UCLA basketball. I was a huge Lonzo Ball fan. What was it like being, and I say this wholeheartedly because UCLA has probably one of the most richest histories in college basketball. What was it like being there in that mecca and working with such great talent and Steve Alford, and you guys were able to accomplish a lot, and not just in the regular season and postseason tournament success as well. What was it like being a part of the UCLA mecca, and as well, how did your time there kind of shape your life as of now?
Well, it's second to none as far as basketball goes. I'm so glad Steve Alford hired me. Very thankful. It was a great 5-year run. To be part of the UCLA fraternity is gives me goosebumps to this day. We had a reunion on the last home game of the year with them leaving the Pac-12, and we got to walk out on the court with all the greats. And to be a part of that and be a part of that fraternity. We all got sweaters with the UCLA logo. It was just amazing, man. I still wake up every day, and not every day, but every once in a while I say, damn, I coached 5 years at UCLA. Never in my wildest dreams putting fuel on airplanes in the Air Force did I ever thought that I would be able to reach this journey. And I couldn't do it by myself without my family, without my father, my mother, my step-parents, everybody, my brothers and sisters, just everybody, my wife, couldn't do it without her. And my kids, it's just amazing run, 5-year run. And it's a fraternity like no other. I go over to UCLA. I don't live too far from there now. And I go over there and get a lot of love. And man, just think when you walk in there, all the banners and they only put up national championship banners. They don't put Final Four banners up. So all the banners, all the retired numbers hanging on up in the banner, up in the wall. And then you walk down this hall going towards the basketball locker room, and you see all the names of the NBA greats that's played in the NBA. I was close to Bill Walton, who just passed recently, and it was that was shocking and hard for me for a while because he was such a great guy. But again, to be a part of the UCLA, culture, to be a part of the UCLA basketball, be the only coach to coach 20. Spent 20 years in the Air Force and be assistant coach at UCLA is quite an honor for me, and just so thankful for all the people that helped me get there.
Yes, sir. I love that, Coach. And we're sending our prayers to you for your losses as well. You also spent a few years at Cal Berkeley, and I know you talked about your relationship with Jaylen Brown. Talk about just kind of the differences, kind of some of the California schools you worked at, from Cal to UCLA. What are some of the differences like there, and what did Cal bring to your table that maybe other schools had not brought?
Well, Cal is a great academic institution, just like UCLA, and the difference is, UCLA has a more storied basketball program, but Cal has a great athletic and basketball program as well, history. So the difference is NorCal, SoCal. If you know what I mean? It's just a different vibe. Northern Cal is different than Southern Cal, and I was just up in Sacramento this weekend. Love it up there. I love NorCal. But it's just different, and not in a bad way. They're both great ways because they're just tremendous institutions, and they provide the same things. They're actually, they're under the same umbrella in the UC system. Cal is actually the first one, and UCLA is an offshoot of it. So. But to be a part of the UC system is amazing. I was part of the Cal State system as well, and then the private sector of the University of San Francisco. So I've been a part of all those type of systems within the state of California, and they're all uniquely different. but they all provide great academics and great athletics.
I know you were able to come down just a few years, I know during COVID, to SEC country and spend time working at Vanderbilt University as being the associate head coach. What was that role like for you, and what were some of the differences? I know that you spent so much time on the West Coast. What were some of the differences you saw from the SEC basketball compared to some of your previous stops?
The SEC is definitely different. You know, they're very in tune with everything. You know, their slogan is just means more, and it does, and that's why they built their conference up. You know, in California and at UCLA, and the Pac-12 is amazing university as well. But a lot of other things going on during basketball season as well. So you don't get the crowds like you do back in the SEC. Basketball wise, about the same. You know, you get pros in both leagues. To go and, you know, when I was at UCLA, we went to Kentucky and beat Kentucky. So it's not much difference in basketball wise, but just the communities are different. It means more on the East Coast as far as attending games and being a part of it, and boosters and stuff like that. And football generates that. You know, it was a great 1 year stay there. Thank Jerry Stackhouse for hiring me. My mother-in-law got COVID, so I left, and it was during COVID. So I was glad I was not coaching her, and I was spending my time with her and my family. So, but I really enjoyed Vanderbilt. Great people. They have a great athletic director over there in Candace Lee. And I follow them from a distance. The baseball program is amazing. And, you know, it's a great university and a great city. Nashville is an amazing place. And my family and I really enjoyed our year there.
I want to depict your mind just a little off the rail. I'm a music lover, and I love just like all different types of music. And I kind of want to ask you, what are some of your favorite music artists, musical tastes? Do you have any favorite artists, and who do you kind of listen to on a day-to-day basis?
Well, you know, when you go on 5-hour trip to Phoenix and then almost a 7-hour trip to Sacramento with 14, 15, 16, and 7-year-olds, you get to hear all the music.
Yes, sir.
So I love it all. I love all music. If you put it on, I probably like it. You know what I mean? I like the old school raps, you know, more than the new school, but you know, I'm learning those as well. Kendrick Lamar, you know, Drake, obviously, and you know, Little Baby and all the babies. You know what I mean? So I hear it all, man, and my kids keep me up to date. In fact, my favorite R&B singer is Jay Valentine because his son is on my team. You know what I mean? So I always tell him he's my favorite R&B artist. You know what I mean? But you know, I like Charlie Wilson. I like all of it. You know, so you know, I was just watching the BET Awards Sunday when I got back from Sacramento. So I enjoy it all.
Yes, sir. I love that. Coach, you're currently now at Campbell High School. What has that process been like so far for you? And as well, I want to ask you, and this can be now, but what's a day in the life like for you? Like, what time do you get up? What do you do during this time? What kind of plans are you setting up? Or are you having practices? What's going on in your life right now? Can you give people a breakdown? Like, what's your day-to-day schedule like?
Well, I'm up early because my wife is up early. So we're up around 5 every morning. So, you know, and then I was a military guy for 20 some years. So being up early is, you know, you can ask my assistant coaches. I'm texting them throughout the night. So they ask me if I ever sleep or not. So I'm up early. I practice plans, but right now we're in a dead period. So I can't be around the kids for 2 weeks. So it's like a vacation for me a little bit, even though I'm getting one of my cars fixed today, and then I'm going to meet our principal tomorrow, and they're going to give me some more responsibilities at Campbell Hall, which I'm excited about. So must be doing something right there for that to happen. So I'm excited about that. And but every day's basketball. I get on the phone with college coaches. I get on the phone, with Nike because they represent us. They sponsor us. I'm on the phone with AAU coaches and where my kids are going to be playing. I'm on the phone with parents. And talking to them and building relationships with them as well. And I'm a relationship guy. So man, if you call me, I'll pick up and talk to you. You know what I mean? So I'm just that way. But my days are full. I might go swimming a little bit here later to get my exercise in and then spend time with the wife and my dog and do some things around the yard. Might cut the grass a little bit. So there's a lot of things that keep me busy during the day. But most of it is on my phone, talking to college coaches, talking. I was on the phone today with a few college coaches on a couple of my kids. So, I've been on the other side, so I know what they're looking for, and we got kids that can play at their level. So I spent a lot of that with a lot of my time this morning doing that, and then talking to my coaches. I didn't talk to my current coaches, but I'm talking to a couple coaches that I'm gonna hire. So I was doing that this morning, but staying busy, enjoying this Southern California weather, and trying to enjoy life.
I love that you bring that up because I want to ask you when you're in the process of hiring guys to work for you and with you, what are you looking for in terms of bringing guys on? What do they have to have for you to consider bringing them along to your staff?
Two main things. They have to have loyalty and they have to have a work ethic. I have both of those. So I work extremely hard. So they have to keep up with me.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't keep up with me, then that's not probably going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But loyalty is the number one. I need guys that are loyal to me, and because it won't work either. I spent all my life being loyal to my bosses, and those are two of the qualities that I need. Basketball wise, of course, they're going to be interested. I mean, they're going to know. I hired one guy that basketball knowledge is coming around. He knows it, but it's coming around because he's never really coached before. But his loyalty is second to none, and the quality of person is second to none. So, and his work ethic is second to none. So that's why I hired him.
Yes, sir. Coach, where you are right now, and you may or may not have an answer to this, and that's okay if you don't. Do you have an end goal? Is there somewhere or something that you want to end up accomplishing before you're said and done with your career, or you just keep going where you are right now?
Well, people ask me all the time, do I want to go back to college? And I always say, every time I predict where I'm going is never right. So I've done a great job of just being where I'm at and doing the best that I can where I'm at and making a difference in kids' lives.
Yes,
and wherever that leads me, it's going to lead me. If it leads me at Campbell Hall for 10, 12 years, 15 years or 20 years, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? As long as I am able to coach basketball and make a difference in their lives through the game of basketball, that's where I'm going to be. You know what I mean? I can never predict tomorrow. So I stay in the present. And
yes,
I'm very, very, very loyal to that process because, man, I used to wake up when I was at Sac State saying, hey, man, I'm going to be at UCLA next year. It don't work that way. I had to go to San Francisco. I had to go to Oregon State before I got to UCLA. Really, I never even thought of that part would ever be able to happen. You know what I mean? So a lot of people told me I couldn't become a college coach. When I told everybody once Boo told me I could be a college coach, all the people in the military laughed at me because I never played D1 and I didn't have my degree at the time. So that's what motivates me. You know what I mean? To continue to work hard. And what's so funny about life, if you knew it was around the corner, you probably screw it up. So, I don't want to know what's around the corner. I just want to do the best where I'm at.
Yes, sir. I love that answer. I love it. I really do. One of my mentors, his thing has always been staying in the present moment. And so
Yeah.
I've kind of worked better towards doing that myself. But to hear someone else say that, I love to hear that as well. Coach, if you could have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Oh man. Well, there's so many, man. That's a heck of a question. God would be number one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's I have great faith, and if I can have dinner with him, that'd be shoot. It don't get no better than that, right?
Yes, sir.
So God is number one. You know, shoot, Muhammad Ali. Just by what he went through in his beliefs, he would be number two. John Wooden
Yes,
would
sir.
be number three. Lute Olson again, was a great mentor. Be number four. My parents are living, so I get to have a lot of dinner with them. If here, hopefully soon. But so the people that have passed, those ones there, and maybe shoot, who else in the basketball world? John Thompson. I read his book; was a great read, and shoot, Gandhi maybe, or Martin Luther King.
Yes, sir.
Those type of folks.
Yes, sir. I love that answer. That's pretty deep. I love the God answer too. That's something that I try to put at the top of my dinner list. Coach, I want to ask you kind of 2 questions and one that I kind of like to ask, kind of wrapping up. And the first one is, what piece of advice would you give to people watching and listening? And it doesn't have to be about basketball. It can just be things that you've learned throughout your life that maybe you want to give to people listening to help inspire and motivate them in their lives. And as well, I'm really big on legacy, and I love to kind of do things in the way that I want to be remembered for and want to be talked about for. When people talk about David Grace, and you want people to always remember who you were as a person, what's something that you always want to be remembered for?
Well, I want to be remembered as a person that really cared for kids
Mm-hmm.
and really did it the right way.
Yes, sir.
And worked hard, was a hard worker. Dad was a family man. Dad was a great friend, was a great father, was a great son, was a great brother. That's what I want to be recognized as, a legacy that I treated people fairly. I treated people great, and I cared for others. I think that's what we need to do in life. If we can do those things, if we can laugh and we can enjoy life as it goes, enjoy the journey, because that's where you're going to be in most of the time anyway, is your journey to where you want to go.
Yes,
so enjoy those. Don't waste those years as you're going through your journey, and never give up. Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on what you want to accomplish, because there's always going to be roadblocks. I teach, I'm at a school where there's affluent people go to those schools. So, but there's still roadblocks for them as well. You know what I mean? So it doesn't mean you're poor or rich. You're still going to have roadblocks. So how do you overcome those? How do you handle adversity and overcome them? So, and you have to keep fighting and fight to get over the adversities, and longevity will help you with your career and your dreams, for sure.
Thank you, Coach. And I love that word of wisdom, because it can truly provide to not just a coaching realm, it can provide to any parts of life. So I really love that you shared that, because I can take it with my own grain of salt too, use it in my life. So thank you, Coach. And I want to say thank you for joining me too. I've watched your work for a long time from afar, and it was a pleasure to be able to reach out to you and kind of depict and learn and listen to you here today. And so it really means a lot for you to join me today.
Thank you, man. And thanks for having me. You're doing great stuff, man. I love your work ethic, your motivation. You're at Ole Miss now. You're on your way to your dreams, and you're not stopping. You're very diverse in what you're doing, and it's a pleasure to be on your show. And I'm now a big fan of you. So keep working hard, and you need anything from me, if I can help, I definitely will.
I appreciate that a lot, Coach. It's kind of like the small things matter the most, and so hearing that means a lot, and so I appreciate that a lot. And one thing I want to ask real quick as well, if you don't mind, for people watching and listening, kind of just sharing your social media, so if they want to follow you or reach out to you as well, do you mind doing that?
Yeah, man. Coach Grace 1 on IG. Coach David Grace on Twitter or X. And Facebook, David Grace, for the old timers. And I'm on Snap too, but I don't really use it. TikTok, I haven't gotten on yet, but I'm working on that. So, but all those, I'm definitely Instagram. Help me build my followers. I'm trying to get an NIL deal.
We got you, Coach.
Right.
Again, I appreciate you a lot. It was so fun to just chat with you and listen to you. And I say we wish the best of luck to you for your upcoming season and everything, part of your future endeavors. I know you still have a lot in store for where you are going to continue to go, Coach.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Take care. And thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned and laughed a little bit. I sure had a lot of fun. I hope you guys have fun watching and listening as well. Remember, please subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and make sure you get some show merchandise in the comments below. So take care, guys, and God bless.